Finally, let's talk about cell death, apoptosis. Basically what happens is there's a death receptor on the surface of the cell. It receives a signal that begins the process of the cell essentially destroying itself from the inside. There are caspase enzymes. Caspase enzymes begin to take apart the cytoskeleton. The cell membrane will bulge, the nucleus bursts, the cell shatters into pieces. Pieces of the membrane from the cell have to cover or surround some of these cell pieces so that you don't get inflammation. And they wait for the phagocytes to come along and clean up the mess. So caspases are so-called killer enzymes. They destroy the cytoskeleton. They're designed to break down the proteins that make the microtubules. They destroy DNA replication and repair enzymes. So they're proteases. They're enzymes that destroy proteins. Okay? They also, when they're present, can activate enzymes that destroy DNA, DNAases or ribonucleases, deoxyribonucleases. They tear apart the cytoskeleton and allow the cell to be able to sort of digest itself from the inside. They also send a chemical signal to the cell membrane, and these signals are molecules that cause a structural change in something that's sitting in the cell membrane. And when that structural change happens, that it attracts the phagocytes. The phagocytes are cells that come along and eat. Phagocytosis, phago or phage means to eat, and cyte is cell, so they're cell eaters. And you have them in your body, and they're designed to clean up anything that doesn't belong in there. So a cell that looks like that's sort of elongated and misshapen and there's very little inside it, that's probably a cell that's about ready to die. So this is what it kind of looks like. A cell in apoptosis is all sort of misshapen and drawn out and elongated. It's about ready to burst. Now these two things have to work together, mitosis and apoptosis. They have to work together, otherwise you can't develop. So for example, when you're in the womb, your fingers, the bones form, but the skin sort of looks like a big skin mitten. And in order to actually have fingers separated from one another, apoptosis has to happen to break down the cells between so that your fingers actually become individual things. Okay? There's a lot of apoptosis that happens during development early on. And then to protect cells that are damaged, for example, if you're damaged by ultraviolet radiation, you get a sunburn, those cells have to die as well. Okay, so mitosis helps to heal injuries, apoptosis removes damaged cells. And when things go wrong, we call it cancer, which is a derangement of that balance between the two. Okay, too much mitosis and not enough apoptosis. Okay, cellular communication differences we'll talk about later. That's another thing that can cause cancer. Okay, so cell death is natural, it's important, it has to happen, and when it doesn't happen, you have some serious problems.